welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Tuesday. It is How to Tarot Tuesday, and what that is every week we post a video that talks about one of the 78 card tarot. In the video, I choose 3 tarot decks. The first deck is always the Rider-Waite Smith, and the second and third tarot decks I choose based on the artwork to see that I choose decks that I think best represent the card in question, the one that we're discussing. And then the first half of the video, we go through and talk about the symbolism of the card and what the card means. The second half of the video is where you, the viewer, get to choose from the 3 tarot decks, and what we'll do is we'll do a quick spread to see how this card represents in your life. So today we are talking about the 8 of Cups. Just a quick disclaimer, if you ever want to skip the how-to part, the timestamps are always listed in the description box below, as are the names and the authors of the decks that I use. The How to Tarots do run a little bit longer than an average video, but clicking on the timestamp, if you click on pick a deck, that takes you right to the area where you pick which deck you want, and then you can click on the hyperlink for the timestamp of the deck in question that you chose, and that's like your fast pass. You can go straight to your reading if you don't want to go through the how-to part. But the how-to is very helpful. I feel like if you watch my channel, if you watch other channels on YouTube, if you see a reading where a particular card is like making a real prevalent appearance, where you feel like the energy of that card is really speaking to you, sometimes it's great to check out a How to Tarot, and it doesn't have to be my channel, it can be any channel, but to kind of get some more information about the meaning of that card, because a lot of these cards have kind of a myriad of meanings depending on the context and the surrounding cards. So I just feel like the How to Tarot is really helpful. I learn new things every day with learning the tarot, reading the tarot. So with all of the reads I do here on my channel and watching other readings, checking out the how-to part is very beneficial. But if you want to skip that, by all means, click on the timestamp and you're ready to go. I do clarify my reads using an oracle deck, and later when we get in the description, I'll talk about the reason I picked this one. It was very special. I actually got a really sweet comment from somebody watching the deck collection video who posted this as a link. She appreciated seeing this deck, and it's been a while since we used this deck. So when we get to the deck description part, I'll go over why we picked that, but we are bringing out a deck we haven't seen in a while, and it's a very special one. So now, in a very quick announcement, I just want to thank everyone for watching my channel. We really have grown so much, and I'm so grateful. If you watch my videos week after week, especially in the weekly energy card reading, which posts on Saturday, today is kind of a special day for me, and I was just hoping that by mentioning it, maybe you'll send me some good energy my way. So as you're watching this video on Tuesday, I am taking my dad's record player to be repaired. And a little backstory, just real quick, if you haven't followed any other channel, any other of the videos that describe that. My father passed a few years ago, and we were finally getting around, in pandemic world, we finally got around to sorting some of his personal effects. And one of the one of the items that he owned that got left to me was his record player. And his record player really meant a lot to my family. He had such a good taste in music. He had all of his albums were there. There's some really rare ones in there. But what I decided to do was go ahead and make it a tradition by buying new records that are important to me in my life and adding them to my family. Like we have records from my grandmother, we have records from my father, my mother, my sister. And now I'm going to go ahead and kind of carry on the tradition. But his record player is from the 70s, and it's in good condition, but it had been in an attic for about 10 years. So what I'm doing is I'm taking it to an audio repair place. And what I have to do is I have to place a down payment, which is no problem. But I have to turn the record player over to the technician who is going to look at it to see if it can be repaired. Personally, looking at it, I think that it can. I think it's pretty cosmetic. I think the platform that it's on, like the wooden platform, the base needs to be replaced, and possibly a belt and a cord. but you know, it might cost a little bit of money, but I'm willing to do that if it's salvageable. And what I'm doing is I'm going in today to hand the record player over, pay the down payment, and have them kind of do an evaluation. I really, really hope that they can fix it. I'm not adverse to buying a new record player, but I do feel like the one that we have is very quality. I think that if it can be repaired, it has all these features that are just, you know, sometimes old is not bad, right? So but what they're going to do is I'm going to turn it in today, and they're going to hold it for about 4 weeks. They're going to hold it for a month, and then we'll go ahead and see if it can be done. So I'm really excited about that. It is definitely kind of a day. I'm making a day of it. I've got some special plans. I'm masking up and going in and you know, social distance friendly and all that good stuff. But please, I am a little bit nervous about it. So please send me good vibes, give good juju. We have such a supportive community here on YouTube and with card reading. So I just wanted to give you an update about that. So send me good vibes. I'm heading out. I'm gonna get a cup of coffee, and I'm gonna go drop off my dad's record player and see how it goes. All right. So that said, let's jump right in. Today we are talking about a pretty cool card, and I know they're all cool cards, but this one is got, you know, all of them have that special magic, right? And today we are talking about the Eight of Cups. And when you look at the Eight of Cups, you see a really dramatic scene. You see like a really kind of gray sky. It almost looks like a sunset, right? And in the sky, you see the moon. And you see like almost a sad moon or a sleeping moon, right? Very quiet. In the background, you see, you know, mountains and a very quiet river. Like it doesn't even look like it's moving. There's no ripples in this water. And then you see 8 cups that are very pristinely stacked up on top of each other. Then you see someone who is in a red cloak with a walking stick that is walking away from the cups. And it looks like he's on the other side of the river, right? So that's a very intricate scene, you know, it's got a lot of nuance to it. So the first thing, when you look at the Eight of Cups, the first thing that we think of is walking away, right? The first and foremost is that, you know, when I see the cups, and cups mean emotions, these cups are very, very carefully stacked, right? They're very carefully stacked. You know, it's interesting, in the 50s, 60s, well up to the 80s, there were variety shows on television, right? You could turn on TV, and it was like the entertainment shows that you would watch today. And they would show acts, people, you know, entertainers who had acts of different types of talent. And one talent would be cup stacking. And that would be someone who can stack up all their cups and then make kind of like a bridge, you know, using the cups, and then they would take down the bridge and stack them back up again. So one thing I really noticed anytime I see this card is just how intricately these cups are stacked on top of each other. And again, cups mean emotions, right? It means an emotional situation. And what you see there is you see cups that have been very carefully organized, right? So the first thing you think is someone spent some time on this side of the river stacking their cups, and that someone was probably you, right? So when you think about that, and you see this person walking away is wearing a red cloak, which means action, it means energy, it means passion. But the person does seem like they're walking away slowly, right? And they're holding a walking stick, which is really indicative of someone who's going on a long journey. And mountains in Lenormand really mean change or challenge, right? It means that you don't know what lays ahead. The other thing you kind of see is with the really slow river, you know, you don't see any ripples. It looks like stagnancy, right? And, you know, fire means taking action, right? Fire is the sign of Aries. It's the color flavor. I'm sorry, I don't know where that's coming from. It is the flavor of Aries, but it's the sign of Aries, and Aries are trailblazers, right? So when you see this in this context, especially with the moon, you know, the moon looking quiet, this moon almost looks resigned. It looks like it's surrendering, right? It's like, okay, I give up. And what that really tells me is that the first thing that a lot of readers, and I can speak, I'm not trying to speak for all of us, but usually that's really what it means, is that you're walking away from something, right? You're leaving. It means that there's something that you really invested in, but it wasn't going anywhere. It was being stagnant, right? So when you see this, it can take on a lot of context. A lot of times is that it just means that a current cycle is over. Um, it can kind of mean that I always kind of think of this as the kind of spinning your wheels card, where if you see this in a work context, it could be that you're doing the same thing. I always say this is kind of like riding out fifth. If you've ever driven a manual transmission car, it's like you've gone as far as you could go, right? But it's almost like you've gone as far as you can go emotionally. Nothing is changing, right? You've invested. Everything is the same. One other thing I think, especially with the Rider-Waite-Smith, is that there's a great movie called Mona Lisa's Smile. And one of the characters, Kristen Dunst, she's a wealthy socialite, and she was going to college, but she got married, and this is based in the 50s. So this is where you got married, when you were 20, in your early 20s. And she had a very advantageous marriage, right? She married an affluent person, and they bought this little house, and she's showing her friend the new washer and dryer, and at the time that's like cutting edge technology, right? And it's like, and what I kind of see there is that in the story, it's kind of a sad story. She's newly married, but she knows her husband or she strongly suspects that her husband has a mistress. And he keeps disappearing. He keeps driving into the city and leaving the house. And what I see in that movie, what really stands out to me, is that she has this perfect home, right? Everything is pristine. She's got a new toaster. She's got a new dishwasher. She's got a new washer and dryer. She keeps the house perfect. It's like everything, all those cups are set up just to please her husband. And then he swings in, kisses her on the head, and then swings out, right? As I mentioned in the intro, it's funny, my mom, I mentioned in the intro of my father's record player, and it's funny, there were so many records that belonged, and as I went through the records, there's some really rare ones in there. There's a lot of them from the 60s and 70s that are just not made anymore, and I'm very grateful to have them. But I could tell very clearly which ones were my mom's and which ones are my dad's and which one's my sister's. There's a lot of 80s. There's some Culture Club and Prince and, Heart in there, which is clearly my sister's 80s generation. But there was one record in there by Carly Simon. And it wasn't her greatest hits. It was the actual album. And there was a song on there that was called Coming Around Again. And it's from the movie Heartburn, which is it's a movie starring Meryl Streep, which is so awesome, and it's written by Nora Ephron. I'm like, oh my god, how cool is that, right? But it also stars Jack Nicholson. And Jack Nicholson gets a notorious reputation as being a real womanizer, and not to label him, but in the movie he kind of plays that role where they get him and Meryl Streep get married, they have children, and she's really chafing at the married life. It's almost kind of like Mona Lisa's Smile. And what happens is the song is called Coming Around Again, and it's got some beautiful lyrics. It really talks about the plight of like an identity crisis, about the pressures of marriage, about trying to be the perfect wife, trying to be the perfect mother. And the lyrics are really beautiful because she's like, baby sneezes, mommy pleases, daddy breezes in. And this isn't trying to knock men. There's plenty of really wonderful, good, reliable fathers. But, and then she even says, kiss the host goodbye, ruin the souffle, scream a lullaby. It's almost like giving up on everything that you invested in, right? You tried to make everything as perfect as you could, but it's just not working. It's not going anywhere. It's not working, right? So it is kind of like, it's like hitting a turning point where it's like, am I going to continue to invest in this, right? especially if you see the Eight of Cups in the upright next to like the Seven of Pentacles, it's like, okay, you assigned value to this. And with this situation, you assigned emotional value to the situation. So a lot of times it's just like saying, okay, I'm letting go, I'm finishing this and walking away. And that's what the red cloak means. It means taking action, right? The other thing is you kind of see with the very slow, the unmoving river and the mountains, this usually comes about and with the scene and it being at night. I hate to say it this way, sometimes it can be leaving in the middle of the night. The other thing that I kind of see with this is that a lot of times it's like you walking away but not knowing what you're going to go to, because it is kind of that feeling like what if I stay here, all I'm going to be doing is stacking cups. The cups have clearly not moved, right? You've invested all that you could. The other thing is that just like any investment, if you walk away, when you walk away from something that you invested in, you don't know if the cups are still going to be stacked the same way. And honestly, with this card, you don't know if you're coming back, right? It's kind of a sign of saying this is so stagnant. I have no choice but to walk away. And it takes a lot of courage. That's the other thing. Red is the sign of courage. So a lot of times you're walking away and you don't know where you're going to. And that's really going to play into our second card. But when you look at the first card, the other thing is that it's finding that personal truth in what's going on, right? It's breaking away, right? And it can be that disappointment, like, wow, I invested in a lot in this, right? So, depending where you see, and you can look at surrounding cards, sometimes that can be a disappointment. Maybe you were refusing to see the truth. Like there's a lot of cards like the Eight of Swords in reverse, next to the eight, and it's two eights, right? Next to the Eight of Cups. Maybe you're finally realizing that, okay, this is not what it's cracked up to be, right? The other thing is we get a strong sense you don't want to stand still forever, right? That's not your role. So a lot of times it's like, it's saying, okay, you're turning your back on a difficult situation. You're not going to sit there and, stay in limbo. And that's the other thing about the eight cups being so carefully stacked. You're in limbo, right? What if somebody is keeping you on the back burner? Last week we talked about the Seven of Cups. What if someone is not making any priority towards you? So sometimes in a relationship sense, if someone's not reciprocating, if they're not taking action towards you, why are you going to sit there and stay in that situation, right? Sometimes it can be business related. If someone keeps putting you off. The other thing, if it's work related, someone keeps saying, "Oh, I'll give you a promotion. Oh, I'll give you a promotion." You've emotionally invested in that. Sometimes you got to say, "Okay, I've had enough. I'm going to walk away from this. This is not doing same old, same crap, different day, right? Same shit, different bowl." And it's like nothing is moving. So it's almost like the other thing with the mountains is you'd rather turn and face the unknown, go into a new direction, even though you don't know where it's leading, than to stay where there's nothing happening at all, where it's just you invested all this and no one, you're the only one there to see your cups, how carefully stacked your cups are, right? Now, the second deck is really beautiful, and this is one thing I didn't realize that in the weekly energy card reading, I think I picked these two decks as well. There was a different middle deck, but I picked the Slow Tarot and the Tarot of the Divine. I've been a little spacey too, guys. I've been working real hard, and this week is going to be an incredibly busy week. So if I try to make the two reads different, but oh well, it's all good. They're both really great decks. But this is the Slow Tarot by Lacey, Bryant, and this is such a beautiful deck. Because you see the 8 cups all stacked up in their different teacups, right? And you see this woman clearly dressed for travel, right? She's got on boots, she's got on a khaki shirt, her hair's up in a bun. I kind of think messy bun, getting shit done. And she's got her messenger bag. And then in the sky, you see the V formation and you see the same moon, right? It looks like the same gray sky, right? It's a gray sky. It's not a blue sky, but it's not a black sky. So it's like, okay, it can be either or. Things could get better, things could get worse. We don't know. But the V formation of the ducks is kind of like going south for winter, right? You're not going to stay where it's cold. You're not going to stay. The other thing is with that really speaks to me, because why do ducks go south for the winter? Because they're not going to stay in a climate that is not conducive to their health, right? They're going to go somewhere warmer while it's warm, and then come back when the temperature changes. So a lot of times it can be kind of, it usually is turning your back on that difficult situation. It's like saying, I'd rather go explore. And the thing about that is that, when we look at this card, a lot of people get scared because they think, oh God, like in a relationship situation, you think, well, I'm turning my back on this person. This card means that while things are stagnant, you are leaving. It doesn't mean that you're never going to come back. And that's the other thing about the birds. What do the birds do when spring comes? They come back, right? Those cups might not be still stacked there, Maybe wild animals comes and move the cups, or maybe this person that you stack the cups up will come back and, discover that you're not there waiting for them anymore. But the Eight of Cups is about going on a journey, while things are stagnant. Because the other thing that it kind of means, and especially when you see the Eight of Cups maybe next to the Four of Swords, is that maybe there's nothing else for you to do right now, and you have better use of your time, right? If I do see this in relationship reads, where if you're in love with someone and they've got their head wedged, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to come out and say it, I see this quite a lot because humans are flawed, and you see this more often than not. You feel a connection towards someone and they're like, well, I don't know, I want to be with you, I want to go explore. All right, well, you're going to explore, I'm going to go explore. I'm not going to sit here stacking cups for you while you go figure out whether or not you want to be with me, right? So sometimes walking away from those cups, it's really recognizing a personal truth, and it's breaking away from codependent ties. Like when you see this cup next to the devil, that's the most awesome energy you can freaking see, because it's like, I'm not going to stay codependent. I'm not going to be cleaning your house while you're off doing God knows what. I've got better uses for my time. The other thing is that sometimes it can be your search for meaning. Maybe, again, maybe one other really big meaning with this, and it can be a relationship, it can be job related, it can be family related, is that sometimes when you've been doing the same thing, maybe you've been raising a family for many years and the kids are getting older. I do see this cards a lot with like kind of an empty nest. Maybe your kids are hitting the 20-24 mark and they're starting to move away. It's almost like, gosh, I've committed my, the last, decades to everybody else's needs. Now the cups are stacked, they're not moving. There's nothing else for me to do here. What else can I go and do? It's almost like your own adventure, right? And the other thing is that you do see this card sometimes if there's been a divorce or a death of a spouse, because it's like you saying, okay, again, same scenario, I've put so much into this way of life, now it's time for me to go have a new journey. Sometimes if you see this next to the Hermit, or if you see this next to, any of the fire cards, it's really, sometimes cups, it's really you kind of turning away and trying to, break away from an outdated lifestyle. Sometimes if you're in some kind of financial situation or family situation, maybe you're a grown adult and you're just like, you're tired of living by your family's rules. Maybe you have someone in your life that's just really telling you how to live. And you're just like, no, I'm going to go do my own thing, because I know what I see in front of me has not changed, right? It's the same old, and I've invested enough in it emotionally. Let me go see what else is out there. Now, sometimes it can be because cups are very spiritual, they're psychological. So a lot of times it can be disentangling yourself in that way. It can be giving up on something that doesn't work for you anymore. In a spiritual sense, and if you see this next to the Hierophant, sometimes that can be you either changing your fate, your faith, or going in search of something that you believe in your core religious level. Maybe you feel like, if you've never gone to church and you're like, okay, I really need to find my source, my higher power. So it can be in a spiritual sense. Sometimes it can be, sometimes it could just be letting go of problems, something that you really were so concerned about. And what I like about this card is sometimes it is kind of, again, with that red cloak, it's just kind of like one day saying, God, I was so afraid of doing this. Let me just do it. Let me just not be afraid anymore. And that can be moving away, going to college, moving away from home. It could be buying a new car. It can be investing in a new relationship and walking away from an old relationship. A lot of times it can be like cutting apron strings again, and that could be for a parent or a child, a grown child. Sometimes it could be searching for a new relationship because, again, when you see these cups, if someone has not been treating you right, if someone has, the other thing is sometimes this can be a real realization card of just being like, has this other person reciprocated, right? I've stacked up all these beautiful cups. I've shown them what I can give them. Have they given that back? The other thing is that when I see this in a love reading, like if you see it in the Two of Cups reversed or the Ace of Cups reversed, sometimes you got to ask yourself in a very, very plain light, is this what I want? Is this what love is? Right? Is this how two loving, supporting people treat one another? And if you're doing all the giving and the other person's not giving making any effort, there's no time limit, right? There's no time limit for you saying, okay, I've had enough. I've had enough, I'm done. Right? The other thing is that, same thing with a job. Maybe you've been doing the same old for so long, and it'll feel unfamiliar. It'll feel uncomfortable. So a lot of times this card does come up if you've been kind of riding out fifth, like you've been riding out fifth gear, you've been staying in the same position longer than most, but then you do realize, okay, I gotta let go, or I gotta go explore. The other thing is that, look at surrounding cards. Sometimes what's out there could be better. Sometimes what's out there might not be as good. You got to look at surrounding cards. The other thing is that if you're asking about someone, maybe someone walked away from you. Maybe they invested in you and you're asking about them and they're like, well, I'm walking away from you. That person might be walking away. And again, look at surrounding cards to see, what they're walking towards. But, a lot of times it is a quest for some kind of spiritual satisfaction. And that really bridges into our last deck because the Tarot of the Divine is a real fairy tale deck. And what you see here is you also see someone in a red cloak with the crescent moon. The crescent moon is consistent, right? And you see the same carefully stacked cups. But what's beautiful about this deck is the mountains are sand dunes. And according to the book, this is Moses, right? And you look at the pillars, and those are the pillars of the palace in Egypt. And if you remember, if you've read the Bible, Moses was adopted, right? He was put in a basket and put down sent down the river, and he was found by a Pharaoh queen who had lost her baby, and so she found a baby, and she said, okay, this is my son. And Moses was raised as a prince of Egypt. But when he grew up, he was called by God to leave his royal life, right? And he did. He had everything he could ever want. He had material wealth. He had a palace. If he had stayed, he could have been the next Pharaoh, right? The next king of his kingdom. But he was called by God to lead the Jews, to lead the slaves out of Egypt, right? So he had a higher calling. And again, those 8 cups, he had invested, he had grown up, it was familiar to him. It was his destiny to be prince, but he knew that he had another calling. So the last meaning is kind of moving on and knowing that you are walking away to something else that's a different mission for you. it's a different mission for you. So sometimes if you see this next to Judgment, maybe again you've been hanging out in the same old situation, and it's time for a change. If you see this next to the Wheel of Fortune, it means the cycle is closing for you. Changes are coming. The other thing is that the Eight of Cups with that red cloak, it's like it's you meeting the change halfway. It's you willing to walk away from something that's not serving you, or walking away from something that's stagnant, and you're embracing the journey, right? The other thing is that it can definitely be like a search. It can be kind of like for a holy grail. Sometimes it can be a relocation that has a few stops, you know. Sometimes it can just be a calling where you're drawn in a certain direction. Again, you know, maybe if you're trying to find what career would be best for you, maybe you're taking classes or attending seminars, or, you know, this could very well be the sign of someone who needs to kind of break away and kind of just be adrift a little while, you know. It's you know, kind of searching for new things. Now when it comes to a timeline, it usually means 1 month, you know, or it can be as much as 2 months, because the eight is like kind of each cup represents 1 week, so it can be anywhere from 1 to 2 months. But a lot of times it just means that you're leaving an unsatisfactory or a dormant situation, something that's not changing. And what happens to water when it doesn't move? It gets that film, it gets the algae growing on top. It gets unhealthy, right? It gets, you know, and unmoving water is unmoving, and it's unmoving emotion, and that's not good, you know. There are definitely times in life where you have to sit and kind of meditate on what you want to do next, but then there are times in life where you're just stuck and standing still, and you need movement, right? So a lot of times, most of the time, it does mean kind of like a change of heart, or dealing with some kind of one-sided relationship. You know, sometimes it can be you trying to fill a void in your life, you know, or you making a positive change. Sometimes it can be leaving old involvements or old employment, or, you know, family situations. If you feel like, again, you know, if you see a court card in reverse that's a king or queen, maybe someone in your life is just not, you know, treating you right, and you just got to say, okay, I'm better off going to see what's out there than to stay here. Sometimes it can just be those transition times in your life or career where you're kind of exploring. I do see this as being kind of those bridge times, like maybe you take kind of intermediary jobs. And I truly believe that there's nothing wasted in life. I feel like if the universe, you know, gives you little middle jobs, they teach you a lot, and they give you insights, and it helps expand your your skill set. The other thing I see is definitely with these birds, again, you know, maybe the other thing that I see, especially with relationships, if you see this in a relationship kind of spread, is that sometimes you have to walk away from someone so they realize what it was that you brought to the table, right? There are definitely situations where person, sometimes this is a caution card that's saying, okay, you're too focused. Again, you're so focused on stacking cups, you know. Maybe, you know, I see this card sometimes in those situations where you fall in love with someone and you make them your world, and then you stop living your purpose, right? You stop pursuing your goals, you stop even thinking about what it is that makes you happy. That's what the Eight of Cups really gets you to do. You know, it isn't about you serving someone else or someone else being on a pedestal. It is about your life goals and your journey, right? Because you came to life with this purpose as well, you know? So it isn't all about your spouse. It isn't all about your kids. It isn't all about your dogs or your cats, you know? So sometimes those moments come in life. The other thing is that if it is relationship, you've heard the saying, you know, if you come together, like if you see this next to the Six of Cups, and we had a tarot not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago, maybe you met someone while you were really young, and that person broke away and said, okay, well, I don't want to be with you, or I want to still explore the world. You don't have to sit around and wait for that person, you know. The thing about those ducks flying south for winter is that they might come back, they might not come back to the same lake, you know? But the other thing is that, again, you know, when you see someone walking away, it doesn't mean it's forever. It could be, it could not be. And that's where it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. But I do see this card come up a lot in those situations where if you're asking about a person and you think someone's walked away from you, it's probably because you didn't reciprocate, and you are in a position where if they come back, they come back. They're off serving their purpose, like Moses in the desert. They might, you know, this person might go off, and this could be you, it could be your love interest. This person might go off and do really great things. And then after they've, you know, freed the people of Egypt, got their PhD, you know, dated 3 other people, they might come back. Now, one other relationship thing that I kind of see is that, you know, if this is kind of like that thing that just wasn't gelling, if someone has not been treating you right and you walk away, this is definitely, when it comes to the universe, I truly believe that people come together for lessons. No, there are no accidents, you know, everything happens for a reason. And if you were incompatible with someone, or if they were treating you wrong, right? If they were off doing their own thing and you stacked those cups so nicely for them, if you walk away, they have absolutely no right to tell you to come back. They have no grounds. But the nice thing about the Eight of Cups is that maybe they went off and learned a few things with other partners. Could be karmic, could be, you know, when you leave, when you decide a relationship is not right for you, or you decide that you have more learning that you need to do and you break apart, you might come back wiser and realizing, okay, these were the cups that I wanted. Or you might come back and those cups are still stacked there because the person has walked away and found a greater purpose outside of you. So the eight is really multifaceted in the fact that, you know, it could be, you know, it could be you seeking a higher purpose or the other person seeking a higher purpose. But I definitely think of that phrase that says, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it was meant to be. But with this deck, especially with those stacked cups, this is very clear that someone invested something and it was just too stagnant. And whether you let those cups sit there, or, you know, the other person, you were waiting for someone to come appreciate the cups that you stacked. Either way, you know, as an advice card, the universe is telling you that you really need to you need to motivate and not be so concerned. And it is hard to do. It's hard to do because look at how many cups. And the 8, you know, out of 10, you know, 1 through 10, 8 is pretty far along, right? You've invested a lot, and it's emotional. It's emotional. So walking away is very hard sometimes. But situational, it's usually that you're called, there's other things that you need to go do. But just leave in the faith that if this is meant for you, it'll still be there when you get back. The other thing is that maybe there's something better out there for you. The other thing is that maybe you have a few lessons and, you know, the grass not being greener. Either that, or maybe you have a much bigger purpose in life. You have a greater purpose, because the cups are also very comfortable. I mean, look at the scene, right? It almost looks like a place where you would build a house, right? You know, it's not easy, you know, going on journeys, going on, you know, adventures. You don't know if you're going to have a roof over your head that night to sleep comfortably. You know, but rather than staying in your comfort zone, you're willing to go out and explore. So, you know, a lot of times that it can be a sign that there's something out there waiting for you. Now, a lot of times it can mean, you know, it means going on a journey. It means not staying in the same place. But when you look at the Eight of Cups in reverse, the first thing that you think of is, you know, when any card is in the reverse, it either means that it's the energy is dissipating, like it's becoming easier, or that the energy is becoming more entrenched, it's becoming more exaggerated. So usually the Eight of Cups in reverse means that you're refusing to move on, that you're in a situation that's not going anywhere. You're investing, your cups are so perfectly stacked, and you're just going to sit there, right? You're going to sit there. I do kind of think of the Eight of Cups when I kind of think of Mrs. Haversham from Great Expectations. You know, she stayed in that dusty old house, everything the same forever. Again, what are you waiting for is kind of what it's asking you. Now, when the energy is dissipating, it can mean that you actually did have a break where you're feeling kind of satisfied, right? Maybe you went on an adventure and you found something new and exciting. Sometimes it can be, sometimes it can be a real enduring relationship. Sometimes the Eight of Cups in reverse can be a relationship where it just feels really stagnant, but neither of you is leaving and you're just staying in it, right? You're staying there. A lot of times it can be a new romance. Maybe if you were bogged down by a previous romance and you finally leave, and if you see the Eight of Cups in reverse next to the Ace of Cups, that can be something new and exciting. It can be a new friendship. It can be a new adventure. It can be the spark of something that really interests you in life. It can be a new job. Sometimes it can be fear of the unknown. It can be a wrong decision, like you go up in those mountains thinking, this can be that situation where you thought something. I usually see the Eight of Cups in reverse where you thought a relationship or a situation was so dull and boring and holding you back, but then you go out in the world and you're like, oh my God, that was paradise. Why did I leave it? Sometimes it can be an extreme where you are really failing to grow outside of your existing relationships and situations, right? You'll stay in the same job, you'll stay in the same marriage, even though it's just boring and dull and monotonous. Sometimes a lot of times the first thing that you kind of think is that the grass isn't greener, right? The grass isn't greener. If you see this next to, if you're asking about somebody or a situation, if someone left you, maybe they made you sound, someone said, oh, well, you're boring, this relationship's boring, I'm out. And then they go after the exciting new person, and that person completely does a number on them, and then they're like, oh my God, they went on a journey and got their butt handed to them, right? The other thing is that it can be when you see the Eight of Cups in reverse, it can be don't toss the baby out with the bathwater, right? You know how you have those extreme situations, and especially when you're angry, sometimes maybe someone's fussing at you, maybe your mom's fussing at you, your spouse, or, you just feel real restricted. If you see it next to the Devil card, you're like, well, I'm sick of the rules. I'm going to leave. I kind of see the Eight of Cups in reverse as kind of like that, well, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go do this. And you're going to end up in a worse situation. Sometimes following the rules or, conceding a little bit, definitely stick to what is important to you, but don't. The other thing I kind of get with this can, in the upright, it can be relocation, like it can be moving, and sometimes in the reverse it can be that radical where I'm sick of these rules, I want to be independent, and then you end up in like a 1-bedroom apartment where you're scared at night, you're all alone, you have your water heater is cutting out, and you're like, oh my God, where I was not so bad, why did I make such a freaking stink about it? Again, baby with the bathwater. Don't, try to appreciate or get. The other thing is, if you see this in the reverse, and because it's cups, it's emotions, try to give it 24 hours. Try to breathe and think, is it really that bad? Um, you know, but, I don't know why I keep seeing in the notation that they talk, the person in the Rider-Waite Smith is a real blonde looking person, but they always say that sometimes it could be someone walking away from you, and it could be a blonde person. I don't know where that's coming from, but again, a lot of times you just think something is better out there in the big wild world. I am kind of hearing that song "Wild Open Spaces" by Dixie Chicks, but but again, in the upright, the eight can be about legitimately cutting ties or, you know, breaking loose in a good way. In the reverse, it can sometimes be like, you know, making extreme choices. But either way, it is about, you know, it is about walking away from something that is become redundant and routine. And it's about positive change. It's about natural change. And it is about you being brave enough and strong enough to go and search out something new and better. But all right, guys, so that concludes the how-to part. We've got 3 really beautiful decks here. The first deck is the Rider-Waite-Smith with the Sunstone. The second deck is the Slow Tarot by Lacey Bryant with the beautiful Bloodstone. And just a caveat, I mentioned in the weekly energy card reading, Lacey Bryant is a wonderful artist from Southern California. And Chinese New Year is on the 12th, which is coming up, and this week. And it is the year 2021 is the year of the ox. And Lacey Bryant, the artist, is participating in this really wonderful event in Southern California. We did something in my state. We have an Eastern Shore, and they did something really cute. They did ceramic crabs, and they painted different crabs, like different themed crabs. Lacey Bryant is doing the same thing for Chinese New Year in California. They've created a bunch of different ceramic like oxen, you know, bulls. And it's so interesting because astrology-wise, Mars is in Taurus right now, and then we have a sky full of Aquarius planets. So we do have some, you know, bull Taurus energy in the sky. But long story short, Lacey Bryant is doing some really wonderful things. If you check out her Instagram or her Facebook, she's got a public channel, Lacey Bryant Artist, and check out her ox. It's so cool. She's a very talented painter. But this is her work of art. This is her slow tarot deck. It's 78 paintings of the tarot that she did, that she created a deck from. And it has a beautiful, I pair it with a beautiful bloodstone, which is a very cleansing stone. The last deck is the Tarot of the Divine, which is fairy tale based. And it is by Yoshitani, and we have a beautiful clear quartz. And we are clarifying, I mentioned earlier, I got a wonderful reply. It was one of the comments from one of my watchers when I was doing the Oracle deck on the Oracle deck collection, where the first timestamp that she mentioned was this deck. The answer is Simple Oracle Cards by Sonia Choquette. I have a beautiful fire agate on top, and this deck really speaks to me. It just really gives some wonderful messages, and I thought that this would be perfect for this because, you know, when you're walking away from a situation, to really kind of, the other thing is that this deck really focuses on letting go of ego. And when you look at the Eight of Cups, that really plays into it because you think, I've played this role for so long. I've been a wife, I've been a mother. You know, walking away or changing your habits is hard to do. And I think this deck is wonderful for talking about really, you know, encouraging you to do new things and what to do in a transitional way, right? So I thought that was perfect. But enough blabbing. If you need more time, I do ask, you know, please choose from your gut instinct. If you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. Let me go ahead and move up the other decks. So let's go ahead and see, how does the Eight of Cups manifest in your life? Deck number 1, Rider-Waite-Smith. Ooh, that was quick. Current energy. That's current energy. Let's clarify the moon. That's kind of an oxymoron. There's moons in both of these. Oh, guys. We just had a tarot last week on that. 4 of Swords, Ace of Swords. Yeah. I'm definitely getting a clear picture here, guys. You're feeling murky. Share your gifts. Oh, that's awesome. All right, guys. So I am getting a very clear picture here. In the past, I think that you've been very nurturing. You've been really emotionally nurturing. You've got the Queen of Cups here. I am getting a little bit of a mom or a nurturing vibe. It could quite possibly be, and especially with all those cups there. Um, I think you're coming up on a time, again, I'm coming up on a time where you really, um, either that or possibly in the last year and a half, you've been nurturing a lot. It could be longer than that, but I get a strong sense that you just kind of feel like you've been nurturing others and you just really haven't taken any time for yourself. The other thing that I kind of get is that as of right now, it might not have always been this way. Maybe in the past, um, you just, it's almost like in the past, again, in the past you see running water. Like at her feet, you see running water. It's like flowing, it's like an ocean. And then the Eight of Cups, you see no ripples, right? It's like the water isn't running dry, but it's not moving, right? It's not moving. It's almost like there's no reason for you to stay. There's no reason for you to stay. If this is a relationship, it could quite possibly be that you were really nurturing to someone in the past and they're not there. You're stacking up these cups by yourself, right? This could be kind of a little bit of an empty nest syndrome. But what I'm kind of getting here, especially, with the Page of Cups and the Seven of Swords, it's almost like you feel like it's real quiet. I am almost getting like an empty nest, or if this is a personal relationship, you feel like you're not getting reciprocal energy, right? You've given and given and given in the past, but it's almost like you're standing there by yourself. No one's meeting you halfway. Either that or when they do meet you, it's like these really, if this is a person, you feel like you're getting kind of really clandestine little messages. Like you've got all these cups beautifully stacked waiting for this person to reciprocate, and they just kind of show up. It's like they show up sporadically and give you one little message in return, even though you're so prepared, you're so ready for them, right? And it's confusing you. It's confusing you. I am getting a little bit of a relationship vibe here. I'm kind of getting a feeling like maybe somebody really has just been kind of sneaky. The other thing I kind of get is that you're just confused by the way that they're acting. They're acting really shady. You're being so forthright, like, okay, this is how I feel about you. Here's my cup. And the other thing is the Queen of Cups is very emotionally mature. But this person, and if you look at it, the moon, I think you're tired of feeling confused about a situation. You're tired of feeling like you're in the dark. The other thing is that the Seven of Swords is really kind of a lying energy. I'll be quite honestly, guys, if this is a relationship, someone has really kept you off kilter because you're very emotionally on the level. Um, Someone has kind of, it's almost like they purposely keep you confused. They keep you guessing. You're here waiting. I think you've been very upfront. The other thing about the Queen of Cups is she's very, she has a lid on her cup, but she knows what she can give, right? And I think you know what you've given. You know what you've given. And it's funny, you waited. You waited a long time, but this is a seven and this is an eight. And I don't think, I think whomever you are that you're dealing with has just been really confusing. They've given you mixed messages. And again, I get kind of a sense of hot and cold. One minute they're kind of sending you that one vague, really kind of sentimental text, and then the next minute they disappear, don't talk to you, and you're left standing there, you're left waiting with your cups going, what the hell? you know? And the other thing is that you're a very emotionally intellectual person. You know what you feel. You know what you're there for. What's that song? this is what you came for. This is what I waited for, you know? But I think, and the fact that you got what I'm kind of sensing is that you have been confused for long enough. You've been waiting for long enough. You're going to put your red cloak on and you're walking away from this. You're walking away from this. You're done. You're done. Now, if this is a mothering energy, what I'm kind of getting is that you kind of feel like you might feel, I'll be honest, if this is like a mother child, because this is the Queen of Cups and the Page of Cups, it's quite possible that you've really been there for a child, but one minute it's like, hey mom, I need your help, you know, they'll come to you kind of with the violin playing behind them, and then the next minute they're turning and you know, well, I'm good, I don't need any help, I'm fine. And you're just kind of like, you know, again, it's you know, it's throwing you into this emotional kind of like, what the hell? I'm getting a strong what the hell kind of feeling, and you're tired of that. You're tired of that. You're tired of just being on standby. That's what I'm really getting. You're tired of being on standby. You've got other things that you could do with your life and your energy. And but what I'm seeing here is that, you know, as you go forward, you're walking away from this deceptive, this hot and cold, wishy-washy energy. I do get the sense someone else is doing this with you. And I do get the sense that they're being very emotionally immature about it. That's the other thing, is that you're the freaking Queen of Cups. Don't come at her like a page. You know? Don't have her sitting there waiting with 7 cups. And I do get the sense with the moon, especially because Queen of Cups is water energy, and the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. It's quite possible, and again, if you have a lot of Cancer in your chart, or if you have Scorpio, I'm not seeing too many scorpionic energy here. It could be Pisces, because this is also a Pisces card. But you're finally going to walk away. You're finally going to walk away. Now, what's going to happen is when you walk away, and we just had a tarot last week, you probably are not going to know what you're going towards, right? But it's going to be a little bit of a daydreamy energy, but you're not sure what to do next. This could also be a little bit of an empty nest kind of feeling, but with the 7 of Swords, I definitely feel like somebody is, it's almost like if this is revolving a child, you just feel like you feel like a child's kind of manipulating you a little bit, and you're tired of it because it throws you into emotional, you know, it knocks off your emotional equilibrium, and you've had enough. It's almost like, okay, well, I'm going to invest in me now. I'm not going to sit here and wait for you to come back and tell me what you need me to do. I'm going to do what's right for me. But as you move forward, you're going to have a lot of options. You're really not going to know what this is in this pile. It's very clear. You're walking away, but you don't know where you're going to go. But you just know that it's going to be different than from what you're leaving. And I'm sorry. I wish I could get some more clarifier for that. Well, 7 of Cups usually doesn't clarify very well, but let's go ahead and try. 7 of Cups, please clarify. Ah, independence. There you go. Yeah, you're just, and look at that. It falls right as a cross. You're just gonna do you. You're gonna pull yourself out of the emotional confusion, and you're just gonna be happy, content. I also get the sense you'll have more money. You'll have more money. You're gonna do what you like to do. You're not going to worry about what other people want. The other thing I'm kind of getting with the 7 of Cups is kind of like the sky's the limit, you know? You know what in this combination, you know what I almost sense is like, you know how when you retire and you really don't need the money, what part-time job would you do if you didn't need the money, right? It's almost like the sky's the limit. Okay, maybe I could be the greeter at Walmart. Maybe I can be a interior design representative, you know, or I've always liked painting. Maybe I can put my paintings on Etsy. You know, it's like you're kind of, I think moving forward, you're walking away, you're putting your needs first, you're being independent, and you're being real strong about it. The other thing I get is that by walking away from this, you feel so much better. You feel like, I'm getting a sense you feel like yourself again. You feel like yourself again. And you do, I get a sense you have a lot more money too. You know, like you're not, the one other thing is with the pentacles, you just know your worth. You know your worth. You know, you're not wasting your time and your energy on anyone who's not valuing you. But you got your oracle card. You got share your gifts. And this is really great. You see someone who's handing a plate over. Maybe you like to cook, or you know, if you will, maybe you'll become an influencer where you show people either healthy eating recipes or your cooking recipes. But I'm going to go ahead and read the book. We all have gifts of spirit that we're here to share. The ego often discounts them as not good enough, not significant enough, not important enough to make a difference. Don't fall into this trap and hide them. Know that the simple endowments of spirit, which are grounded in love and kindness, come from your heart and are needed now more than anything. Life isn't demanding any great thing of you in this moment. It's only asking that you trust your spirit and share your gifts, which may include the ability to listen, to calm others, to make a meal, to organize a situation, to run errands, to offer a hand, to be patient, or to make another person laugh. You know in your heart of hearts what your spirit is gifted at sharing with others. Now is the time to do this. Don't be shy. Share your gifts as others need your love and kindness now. So maybe you've been kind of reserving your love and kindness for one person that hasn't really reciprocated or appreciated it. So what it's telling you is be independent with that stuff. You know, go ahead and walk away. You know, go stack your cups in I'm getting in a public forum. You know, you might feel a little lost at first. The other thing that I get is that I really get a sense that you don't realize how much how much your talent really helps other people. Because the Queen of Cups really, when she gives, it is very kind. Maybe you're a counselor, um, you know, but the other thing I kind of get is that it's almost like one other thing I kind of get is that you get out in the world and you're like, oh my gosh, how can I help? How can I help others? But I get the sense that you're very intuitive. The Queen of Cups is very intuitive. Go ahead and listen to your gut. Just listen to your gut. Just follow your gut. But there is some way that you can give your talents or give your talents to others. The other thing that I get too is that, especially with this combination, I sense that your challenges could really be a good influence on the world. You'd be amazed. A lot of times we think, okay, well, I've had those struggles in my life. I don't know why I would tell anybody my story. They wouldn't want to hear it. Your story is like the guide. Have you ever watched Beetlejuice and you see that book, The Guide to the Living? Sometimes our hardships are the manuals that can really help other people. And same thing with talents. Like, I see so many people who learn to crochet or learn to sew or learn how to cook. There's another really good YouTube artist who makes cards, and she talks very candidly about it. It's what is it? Jennifer McGuire Inc. She makes homemade cards, and she always says, she says it publicly on her channel, there are moments that I get really depressed, and card making gets me out of that. Card making and sewing helps me feel better. So maybe these talents, again, instead of you waiting and directing that in one area or one relationship, letting that be exclusive to one person, give your love to the world. Give your love to the world, or give your love to a club or a cause, and share your gifts, because I think someone out there could really benefit from it. I don't think you realize that other people can benefit from your advice, but the other thing is that the universe is saying, go be independent. Go be the independent. This person that was, the other thing I get is that someone was kind of, these are two, the other thing is that these are two sevens. Whoever it was that was treating you like your cups weren't good enough, let them come back and see the cups just sitting there. It's like, okay, fine, take the cups. I'm off. I'm off growing pentacles now. Good luck with the cups, right? But I do get a sense like the sky's the limit, right? The sky's the limit, and don't. no one has the right to make you feel confused. If someone can't be on the level when you're being upfront, she's holding a cup. She's holding a cup to you, you know? If you can't accept that cup or be clear about it, you know, yeah, go see what else is out there. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit, right? But wow, guys, oh, that was cool though. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to deck number 2. We've got the Slow Tarot by Lacey Bryant. So deck number 2, what? Let's see here. How does the 8 of Cups represent? Oh, I don't know why I'm playing the 7 up on top. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right. So 8 of Cups. How does the 8 of Cups manifest in your life? Oh, second time we've gotten the Moon. 2 4s. Holy Toledo. 4 and 4 make 8. Thank you. Wow. Oh my gosh. There's a little nudity in this deck. It's not too bad. Just a few naked bits. But you got Temptation, which is the devil. There's no bad cards in tarot, though. Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool, guys. Oh, I'm getting very clear messages. I'm glad we chose the Oracle deck that we did. But, wow, guys. In the past, this is really powerful. We got the Moon again. Holy Toledo. Because in the moon, and you see a crescent moon, you see the moon in the sky. In the past, you felt really lost, right? You felt really lost. I get a sense that you've been trying to hold on to money or hold on to your status, and you feel like you've been, the 8 of Cups is about going on a journey. I think that you've really been on a journey. Like, it's almost like you're constantly in transition. Maybe you've been trying to work ahead in your job, or maybe you just always feel like, I get a strong sense that you're trying not to lose anything. And I'm getting a strong sense from this pile, like you have really powerful ideas and you have really powerful dreams, but you don't want to take any risks with anything, right? It's almost like with every step that you take in your life, you want to earn more, and then you want to hold on to what you've earned, right? And this card, the 4 of Swords, came out when we did the How to Tarot for the 4 of Swords. You see all this broken concrete, right? And you see this person kind of making a tent it's like they're taking a break under the sun, right? And there's new growth there. I'll be honest, guys, that I don't think that you've known a lot of stability in your life. I think, maybe you grew up in a household that really had a lot of conflict, or material kind of, quabbles about material wealth. I'm really getting a strong sense that, you have kind of, and the moon rules fears, right? It's almost like your primal instincts, your sense of survival, right? Your sense of survival is coming out. And what I'm kind of sensing here is that you really, in the past, it was always about, if you took one step forward, you hold your ground. It's like if you earn $5, you hold on to that $5 because you earned it, right? But here, I'm just seeing that the remnants, because you see buildings in the background, but you see that she's laying down on the crumpled bricks of a building. It's almost like the tower came through. You have seen tower moments, right? You've seen tower moments, and it does, on a very primal level. I'm getting real root chakra here. Like you feel insecure, and the insecurity is not just emotional. It's like psychological and physical. Like you've known hardship, and you're not one of those persons that like to take risks very easily, because you're already laying on the rubble of, things that you've seen in the past. And it does it I think it's very psychologically ingrained that, and again, this is 4 and 4, holding on to money and, like mental. I think in the past, I think you're starting to realize that maybe um some of the notions, some of the like psychological kind of feelings that you have about money, I think you're realizing that they might stem from childhood, or they might stem from things that you've seen in the past that stem from loss. And I do think that you're trying to work out, you're trying to realize, because I'm seeing birds. I think you're trying to dig deep. Maybe it's possible that you might have spoken with a counselor, or at least read some articles about it, where you're trying to kind of cultivate why you feel insecure, either about money, because this attitude really is holding you back. It's making you stay with empty cups, right? We talked about staying in one place for so long. Maybe you've stayed in the same house or the same job or the same living situation because of money. Um, One other thing that I kind of see is that this could quite possibly be where you're saying, okay, well, I'm staying in this marriage even though it makes me miserable, because that's what you do, right? And again, but something deep inside of you with the moon, something deep inside of you is churning. These are angry waters, right? It's like there's something underneath the emotional surface that you really need to get to the bottom to. And I think it's because you've seen destruction, or you've seen faulty foundations, is what I'm getting. But I think this is really positive, because I see present energy. You are walking away. You are walking away. And again, with those birds going south, you're not going to stay in a climate that's not conducive to your growth. The other thing is, in the rubble, you do see a sprig of new life, right? I think you're realizing that you don't need to stay laying on the broken debris of what came before. It's already broken down, right? It's there's you you need to move on to bigger and better things, and I think you're doing that. The other thing is great is that you're actually dressed to do it. It's like this person stood up, got some traveling clothes on, and said, okay, I've invested enough in this, I need to move forward. And what it is of course, again, you're going into the unknown. That can be very uncomfortable. I think it's very hard for you to go in an unknown direction, because you are so used to buckling down. Like, I get a sense that your temperament, you might have some fixed planets in your chart, like either Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, or Scorpio, where you're used to sticking things out, right? When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Have you ever heard that song? I think it was a Kirk, no, a Michael Douglas movie. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. It might have been Romancing the Stone or Jewel of the Nile. But what you've always stuck it out, right? You always said, okay, well, I'm tough. I'll just lay on the rubble. I think you're realizing laying on the rubble is not the solution, and you're finally saying, okay, look, I'm tired of being uncomfortable. I'm tired of feeling insecure. Whatever is out there has got to be better than me, trying to make do with, the remnants of something that completely collapsed, right? So you're finally realizing it. And I think you also feel, and again, there's no wrong time to start something new. You can be in your 90s and deciding, okay, I don't want to stay here anymore. That there's no harm in that. So I think you're just saying, I think you have held on to these ideals, and these might have been deeply ingrained. It could be from your religion, it could be from your family, it could just be from you seeing it growing up. But what you've got atonement. And atonement is kind of like judgment. And what you see is, you see a woman in a red dress. And what did we talk about? Oh my God, guys, you see the person in the red cloak. Oh, and goodness, synchronicity alert. You see a woman in the red dress. which is like taking action. And you see this picnic. And I do kind of see there's so many similarities because the picnic is like she was waiting for someone, right? The other thing is that there's pomegranate seeds here, which is very that goes back to the story of Persephone and Hades, right? Um, she it's a Greek mythology. It talks about the underworld. It's Pluto energy. It's about dramatic change. It's life changing. But you see, it looks like this picnic, like she had this picnic all set up. She had all these cups all set up, and the person never came back. So what did she do? She just went ahead and she fed the food to the ducks. She fed the food to the ducks, and then she changed into her traveling clothes, because it looks like the same woman. She changed into her traveling clothes and said, okay, let's put a fork in this. This is done, right? I think you got tired of waiting. You got tired of waiting. You got tired of staying in the same mindset. I think you finally realized, okay, no one else is coming to have this picnic with me. No one else is having this picnic with me. The person that I set all this great food up, this food is going to waste just sitting here without anybody to share it with. So and it's like you prepared. And I look at this card and I think messy bun, getting shit done, pardon the language, but this video is over 18. But that's what I see. That's what I see. And I see a black feather here. But the pomegranate seeds really do speak to me of like Pluto change. It's because it's the story of Persephone and Hades. The other thing that I kind of get with that is that, this looks like summertime because you see all the ducks and the geese are at the lake and she's not wearing a coat. And then fall comes and all the ducks go, it's quite possible that this change has been occurring recently. Maybe you were holding on to something, and then after the fall, after autumn, fall time, you decided to make a change. Now, this is really beautiful, is that moving forward, you've got temptation, which is the devil card. And then you've got the Two of Wands. Now, temptation, there's some nudity here, but really it talks about addictions, right? It talks about, like when you have a crutch on something, right? I think you realize that you have a crutch, meaning that, maybe you're reliant on the security that these old patterns of behavior gave you. But you're making plans, right? You're making plans. You're saying, okay, I don't want to, sorry, this neighbor is playing his music really loud. But you're making plans to go in a new direction, right? But I think what it's kind of telling you is that it's almost like you got to stay strong to do it, right? You're still going to be, you can't just get over this energy, because the other thing is that the fours are very fixed energy. It's like the four posts of a table. They're steady, and again, I just sense that this is not a comfortable, walking away, going in a new direction, trying new things. That's not your normal MO, right? And it's going to be hard for you to stay on that path, but I think you're determined to continue making plans. I think you're ready to make the change. But that temptation will still be there, right? As you're making plans and deciding to go forward, there is still going to be that little voice in the back of your head that says, well, didn't you feel secure, just being where you were, why don't you just wait with the picnic, look at the beautiful lake. You could have stayed there and not, gone off into the woods or into the mountains. But you see here that it's almost like you're making a plan. You're like, yeah, I'm going up into the mountains, but I got a map. I know exactly where I'm going. But the other thing I kind of get is that it is uncomfortable for you. I think you do get tempted to go back, either that or you have kind of memories. If this is a love situation, you're kind of like, you're trying to look only forward. Right? You're trying to look only forward because, what was in the past didn't make you feel secure, right? It didn't give you, it was not a solid foundation, and it made you feel like, made you feel like you had to cling on or hold on, or, it gave you all these turned up emotions, And solid relationships or solid situations, they don't make you feel like that, you know? When you think of real love, when you think of someone who really cares for you, they don't make you question yourself or your value. The other thing is, if this is a work situation, you know, it can be that you're just in search of something that's more, something that makes you happy. But it is a calculated risk that you're taking. You've got a map, right? You got a map. And I think you're going to be successful, but it is almost like, you know, you just, again, with this being the fours, you know, that's hard to get away from, especially if you spent a long time doing things the old way. It's going to be very tempting. It's going to be tempting to go back. Well, because the other thing is, you see all those beautiful cakes and stuff like that. It's like, well, you know, all the red too. It's almost like, hey, you know, well, if you had just stayed at the lake, you know, you could have all these beautiful cakes. You wouldn't have to eat the protein bars that are in your backpack, you know. But I think you know that there's something better out there for you, and you're gonna stick to your plan, right? But you are gonna be a little tempted. You'll still have that voice in your head, you know, making you question whether or not you made the right decision. Now, this is a really great card. It's number 57, and it says, "Call your spirit home." And I'm going to go ahead and read the message. It says, "Are you growing tired yet of the same old blah 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 of disinterest that your ego mind comes up with whenever you get a whiff of inspiration? Um, Are you tired of the same dreary arrangement of self-denial, insecurity, guys, and boredom that you come home to at the end of every hard day of work? You feel this lack of inspiration because your joyful spirit has been living outside of your body and your home. Your ego has taken over and pushed it out the door. It's time to call your spirit back. Start by creating an atmosphere that appeals to it. It abhors darkness, chaos, dreariness, and carelessness. Is your living space inviting to your spirit? Your spirit is holy and requires a place of peace and security to dwell in. Invite it in to come home by cleaning up your residence and airing out the old. If your home is cluttered, dusty, falling apart, and just plain ugly, it's not appealing to your spirit. Clear up and clear out the debris to attract your spirit once again. Hire help to do so if you're overwhelmed. Take pride in your space and make it beautiful. And simplify. If you own less, you'll worry about less. Your spirit is content in a quiet, clean, and uncluttered space. Make yours a place truly worthy of your spirit, and it will return. Light a candle, say a prayer, and call it home. You know that you know that you've succeeded because you'll feel inspired and happy to be home in every sense of the word. Now, this is interesting, guys, because one other thing I kind of see here is that you see kind of a tent here that's just made up of swords and like a handkerchief. But here you see someone who's in a dark space that has all these jewels and stuff. Maybe it's telling you to simplify in that way too. Maybe it could be that, you know, maybe you see that she has only what's in her backpack, right? Maybe it's telling you that you might have to kind of lighten your load in order to go new places, right? Maybe you like to travel, but you haven't been traveling because you think, oh, okay, I need a house, I need belongings, you know? This could be a sign that, you know, you really, the other thing about the Four of Swords is like kind of taking a moment to think about it and say, well, you know, this isn't really working for me. And the four is like a house, right? The four is like a house. So I really get the sense that, you know, and again, if this is work related, you might want to really ask yourself, okay, you know, is what I'm doing fulfilling? You know, am I not happy in what you're doing? If are you just, you know, you're just finding shelter in the rubble of something, and it's going to be very tempting to stay, but you know, make a plan. Make a plan. I do get a little sense of fear here, you know, fear, because it's very comfortable, you know, where you are, but there might be something that's more exciting. And again, this being like the house in the clouds, you know, And this being like, this is like a tent, I think you have the ability to make your dreams real. You just have to break away from some of these traditions and try, right? And just try. But this is really beautiful, guys. I think you can definitely do it. I think you might have a little bit of fear. You might be afraid that it won't work, but you have a good plan. You have a good plan. It's almost just like, again, call your spirit home. Don't be you might want to, um, it's kind of a Zen principle. When you own things, you must maintain things, and it burdens you. It holds you down. If you lighten your load and either that, or if there's a way, maybe you can put some of your possessions in storage while you go and travel, and then once you have the new thing that you want to do, then you can get settled in again. But this is really quite beautiful, guys. I do think that you'll be a little afraid. You might have a little bit of a calling too, but it is encouraging to you to look at what's out there. There's a whole world. There's globes here. There's a whole world out there for you. But wow, guys, that's really powerful. I do also get a sense that there's something out there in the world that you really want to do, and it's just kind of out there waiting for you. All right, so last but not least, we have the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshitani. I've shuffled, but let me just give it one more good shuffle. Oh, two more. Sorry, guys. I used this card in the weekly energy card reading. I shuffled it then too, but we just want to make sure that the cards are all good and mixed up. All right, so this card, as we mentioned in the intro, this is the story of Moses. And you remember Moses was an adopted prince of Egypt, and he later heard the call of God, and he walked away from his royal status. We got the devil. He walked away from his royal status to become the leader of, he led the Jewish slaves out of Egypt. But all right, so let's go ahead and see. The Four of Coins is really coming up a lot. Okay, so Eight of Cups. Beginning of past, please. Okay. Okay. Present. Okay, future. That's interesting. Queen of Coins and Four of Wands. I'm definitely seeing more of a marriage here. Let go and flow. All right, guys. So wow, in the past we've got the Three of Wands. And what this is this is kind of like a little bit of an obstacle course, but the Three of Wands is really about like waiting for your ships to come in. It's waiting for, you're waiting for things to change. And what I'm getting here is also with this palace here. There's a palace in the distance. I really get the sense, because both of these cards are about waiting. I feel like in the past, like it's almost like in the past you felt like there was more movement. Like, it's almost like in the past you came to a certain point, and it's almost like you got to the palace and you were waiting. Like you were like, okay, this is. As you were stacking up your Eight of Cups, you thought that things were going to continue to progress. Right? And this could be with a job. I'm really getting more of a relationship with this. But it's almost like you put the effort forward, and it's almost like you expected a certain result. It's quite possible that maybe, you came so far in a relationship where you thought that the next step would be marriage. Either that or, that the relationship would become more serious. And what I see here is that it's almost like, other thing I kind of get is that, the Ace of Wands, the Two of Wands, those are very, kind of progressive cards. The Ace is a strong new start. The Two is like making a decision, and the Three is like, okay, things are expanding. So I think, if this is a relationship, you went pretty far with this relationship, like things were moving right along, and then all of a sudden they just kind of stopped. And what I'm getting is it's almost like you were sitting in the palace, stacking up the cups, waiting for it to take the next step. Because again, the four of wands try to come out with the Queen of Coins. So it's almost like, maybe you kind of proved yourself to be very financially responsible, or you were, maybe you saved up money for a house or something like that, and you were all waiting, for the next step, but then the next step never came, right? Because what I see the Six of Cups, and then we have the Five of Swords, which is also another Egyptian, myth there. And the Five of Swords is blocking the world. It's like blocking the completion of a cycle. So what I'm strongly seeing is, yeah, things started off real quick. It's like I almost get the sense like it was like the spark of a new relationship, and then things were going along really well. The other person said, yes, I choose you. And then you're just like, okay, you choose me. We're in a relationship. This is great. And you were waiting. Okay, you were at the Three of Wands stage. You got through the first Ace of Wands. It progressed to the Two of Wands. You went on to the Three of Wands. And you were waiting for your Four of Wands. The other thing that I get is that you're a person of value. If you're a man watching this, you have a very nurturing way about you, where you give, like you're reliable. You're very reliable. And it's same thing if you're a woman. The other thing I get is that you kind of make your own money. It's not like you expect anyone to take care of you financially, but you were just waiting for the next step. You were in the Three of Wands, and you were waiting for the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands is like hitting that plateau of, it doesn't necessarily have to be marriage, but usually it can mean like moving in together, or that plateau that you see that things are still progressing. And it's almost like you were expecting that four, and you never got to the four. You were just, you kept climbing the ladder, right? You kept climbing the ladder. You kept saying, oh, okay, well, I've saved up money for us to move out together whenever you're ready. You're stocking up all these cups, right? You're making everything so seamless, and you were just sitting there alone with those cups. You were waiting for your ships to come in. And what I get from the Six of Cups, because we got the Six of Cups, and then we've got the World, and the World is like, you see this in this deck, there's two people. It's like that dance of celebration. It's like, maybe that is, and again, it doesn't necessarily have to be marriage. It could be, but just kind of like completing the cycle. The other thing is with the Eight of Cups, the Ten of Cups is the completion of the cycle. But what it is the Five of Swords came out as a diagonal, which is like a block, and it came out right between the Six of Cups and the World. And what that tells me is that you have a lot of fond memories, like the Zoom, the you meeting this person, you going this far was really wonderful to you. It was like everything that you could have wanted. The other thing is, I feel like you were really on the same page. You look at this woman, she looks like she's wearing the same headdress as these two children, right? The other thing I kind of get is that, that you had a lot in common. Like you had the same goals, you had the same feelings in common. But the Five of Swords it is like a defeating card. It's like one person is defeated and the other person is victorious, and almost kind of smug. I am going to come out and call it, guys. It's quite possible. I'm getting a lot of ego from this card, because the other thing is that in this story, I think this is Osiris, and he defeats Isis is married to his brother, and he kills his brother and takes over the kingdom, and Isis is in mourning. So it is about defeat, but she later rises up and defeats him. But for right now, he thinks that he's the winner, right? We know, looking back, we know that, that she later is going to reclaim her husband, her fallen husband's kingdom. But what I'm really getting from this is that you had a lot of fond memories, and it's almost like, what I'm almost getting is, I'm getting kind of like you got blindsided. You got blindsided. Like, you thought things were moving along. I read this one of two ways. You really thought that your hard work, that you putting this into this, was going to lead to you had good memories, you were there for this person, you were ready. And the other thing I kind of get is, this person really represented everything that you wanted. They were your world. And then they turned around and they walked away. They turned around and they walked away. It's almost like they took something from you. One other thing that I kind of get is that maybe this person, they very quickly, and again, this is unexpected. I feel like, especially with this Five of Swords, because it was one brother turning another brother, you never imagine that would happen, right? You don't think one brother is going to turn on another brother. It's kind of malicious. But I get the sense that this person just kind of suddenly and unexpectedly took away everything that you wanted. And they either walked away, or it made you walk away. I'm almost getting like you walked away, but it's almost like it's because you were banished from your kingdom. Like, you stacked up this beautiful life, and then someone came in and took it, and said, okay, you can't live in this castle anymore. This isn't your castle. This future isn't yours anymore. But one thing that we know, and again, with both of these stories, just remember, Isis is temporarily defeated. She later comes back and becomes the Empress of Egypt. She takes back her kingdom. The other thing, and this is Moses, and that's the other thing, is that Moses was a prince of Egypt. And you think, oh, okay, he's going on some quest that's not going to amount to anything. He was on a quest ordained by God to free other people. So I do kind of get a sense, like, I am also getting a strong sense that your journey is important to other people. I think the trials that you went through are important to relay to other people. I think you're going to lead people out of the desert. The other thing is that I think that you're going to be a leader. I'm getting a strong leader, because both Moses and Isis, they were leaders, right, in Egypt. But the other thing that I kind of get is that I also get a sense that this person that did these things, they did it out of ego. They did it out of ego, because the past is happy memories. The other thing is that in this Six of Cups, Hans, who is the boy in this, this is the story of the Snow Queen. So he did legitimately have a pure heart, but then what he did is he went on an adventure, and he was kind of poisoned, he went out into the world, and he was turned to a different way of life, and then later he came back. But the way I kind of read it here is just that I feel like I think it was hard for you. It's hard for you to walk away from these cups, because they meant a lot to you. I do get the sense like you had a dream. You had a dream of something really wonderful. Like this, what you were waiting for really represented everything that you wanted. And you felt bitterly defeated with it. I think the other thing that kind of stings is that you have all these good memories. But one thing that I kind of read with this, and again, because it's temporary disappointment, and she does, Isis comes back to rule her kingdom, I do think that this might have been, and again, with Moses being called by God, this might potentially be, and I don't like to throw this terminology around very much, because it's a little woo-woo and it freaks people out, but we all have spiritual missions. I do believe in astrology, and I believe I was raised with a religious belief as well. I was raised Lutheran. I do believe that you have a soul and you have a mission on in this life, in this corporal life. And I think that, there is, the universe is not malicious. It does not do things to you to cause you pain. I think that there might have been some spiritual lessons that you needed to learn. This defeat or whatever you went through is meant to push you in the direction that you're meant to go, because you have a much bigger role than you realize. It's quite possible that maybe you got kind of caught up in love, or again putting someone on a pedestal, thinking that you and you might have been putting your spiritual and life goals shelf while you were waiting for your happily ever after. And believe me, as a woman, we do that, right? We think we've met Prince Charming and we say, oh, but I want the house, I want the home, I want to be married. There, you might have a bigger purpose. And so it's quite possible that maybe, you know how they always say rejection is God's protection? Maybe something really left you waiting, or I get a sense that there's something else that you need to be doing with this time. There's something else that you need to be doing with this time. And if someone's hurt you or if someone's betrayed you, they're learning their lessons. They might be learning their lessons with the person they left you for, or there was something ingrained in that lesson that, again, I'm getting a sense that you needed, because again, Moses willingly, he was called to do what he needed to do. And sometimes it's hard for us, again, we have all those cups nicely stacked. You don't want to just walk away from them because you invested a lot. But sometimes painful circumstances really act as a springboard. They push you into the direction you're meant to go. And remember, Moses came back. He came back. And he came back leading his people. So it's quite possible. The other thing about the Six of Cups is it is about a reconciliation. But the Five of Swords, I mean, it's still a minor card, but in this context, that's a pretty harsh defeat. But the other thing is, Hans in this story, he really was tainted by the Snow Queen. He was tainted by outside forces. So it's quite possible that if you're dealing with someone else, they might be going through lessons, on their own. And again, rejection is God's protection. Maybe there's something else while they're doing their thing. There might still be a chance of reconciliation in the future. You don't know. Again, you're leaving those cups. When you come back, those cups might still be there. They might not be. It's a little bit of it is, and it's with all the religion in this, and the world is a closing of a cycle. Sometimes I'm just getting a strong sense that there's something else that you need to be doing right now. And it's almost like, yes, this is painful. Yes, this does kind of, it hurts, it stings. But I think the universe is really trying to push you to lead, or it's pushing you in a direction that you need to go. You have a higher purpose right now. And if this other person that you were waiting for, if that is really your end game, they will be there. And I promise you, the other thing is that they'll be a hell of a lot more wiser when you get back, if you're meant to be with this person. But some relationships in life just come in to teach us, and believe me, I know. I don't like to say that because, but when I see the world here and I see the Six of Cups, this person, you had happy memories. Again, you saw an end game here. But there was a win-lose to this. There was a win-lose to this, and I feel like you were made out to be the loser. But the other thing is that when you look at the story of Moses, people looked at him and laughed. He walked out and they're like, well, you're giving up being a prince to go what? To go lead slaves in the middle of Egypt. And he was Moses, he was the guy that you read about, you know his name, 10 Commandments, right? This is not, you being brave. This experience might be a very pivotal part of your life plan. And but it does, the other thing is that it really does call you to be brave. It calls you to be brave, because this hurts, right? The other thing I get is that I feel like I'm getting a strong sense that it almost hurts even worse because you had good memories, you had good shared feelings, with what you're walking away from, right? It feels like you're leaving home. But the future, you've got the Six of Coins, and the root of it is the Three of Swords. So I do get the sense, you know what I'm getting? And this is really interesting. In the Six of Coins, you see a woman. It's the story of the lady who takes care of beetles. And beetles are such an Egyptian thing, too. They talk about eternal life, right? They talk about, insects that live, or, you talk about, it is a little bit about reincarnation. You also see mountains in the distance here. I do think that there was some kind of betrayal here. I think you were really hurt by somebody, but instead of letting that pain kind of make you bitter or make you feel sour about life, you're turning that pain into a balm that helps others. The other thing that I get is that your experiences and your bravery, the way that you've faced these conflicts, I think it helps you give to others, right? It helps you nurture others who are going through the same strife. Um, and again, it's almost, I also get with the Beatles, it's like you transforming that energy in the most positive way possible. Instead of you just being jaded or feeling bitter or feeling betrayed, you're saying, okay, how can I turn this experience into growth, and how can I help others with that? How can I guide others? I really get a strong sense of leadership here. But most of the time, the other thing I kind of get from this is maybe you do help others who are in like a third party relationship, or you help others who are in pain. That's also what I'm getting. Um, the pentacles are a very steadying force, right? They're very grounded. The other thing that I think that you do is that you help other people remember their value. Because you see beetles, and a lot of times when you see bugs, it's like, okay, a lot of people don't like bugs. They think, okay, well, what value does a beetle have? But they're all holding pentacles. Um, I'm kind of getting a few messages from that. You help people transform. Maybe other people who've been through painful experiences, you help them transform and lead. You have led your life purpose, and so you're an inspiration or a mentor to others on how they can help lead theirs. I think you also help people when they need it. The other thing is that I think that you help people understand their spiritual life, their spiritual goals in life. But most of the time, I think that you do help ease the pain of other people, and I think you help remind them of their value and I see it at the time when they need it most. You help people remember their value at the time that they need it most, like when they're really in the thick of it, when they're in pain. And that's just wow. That's so wonderful. And what I love about your oracle card is there is a rainbow. It's almost like, and you see lightning and rain here, so it's almost like you help people through their hard times, so they can get to their rainbow. Is what I'm kind of getting from that. Now, here it says, "Let go and flow." I like that. I get this card quite a bit. It's number 27. And it says, your ego is resisting some aspect of life, trying to halt, slow, or control its formidable force. It's exhausting and silly because it can't succeed. Your spirit, on the other hand, embraces life head on and rides the ups and downs, the ebb and flow, and the shifts and changes in life with determination and courage. Notice in which areas your ego is holding on too tightly to the reins and resisting the flow. Ask, what am I trying to avoid? What or who am I trying to hold back or control? What am I fearfully managing rather than openly flowing with? It helps to answer these questions out loud. Once you know where your ego is resisting the flow of life, ask your spirit to step in and help you ride the wave instead, to help it let go and flow. Pick up a small object and squeeze it with your left hand. Continuing to squeeze it, try to pick up something new in the same hand. It's not possible, is it? Not unless, of course, you shake your hand free and let go of the object. So do. In fact, shake your entire body free of the rigidity that goes with resisting life. Breathe in, dive in, and embrace all that faces you now. Your ego may be fearful and try to stop change, but your spirit is ready and able to gracefully handle all that's coming toward you. Trust this and embrace the changes at hand. So what I kind of get from this, guys, is that, yeah, I think what it is that, again, this story talks about, it's going into the unknown is uncomfortable. And I'm really getting a strong sense of this, is that you help people understand the unknown. The other thing that I get is that I think you also, you lead by example. You have been defeated, and you're reminding people that, don't feel silly because you waited for a situation. With this combination, I really kind of sense like keep the good memories and let go of the bad. If you had good memories with someone, don't beat yourself up. Don't sit there and tell yourself, well, why did I ever fall for that person? I was so stupid. They turned around and hurt me and I just had to walk away. Learn from that pain. The other thing that I get is, let go and flow. Sometimes you're winners, sometimes you're losers in life, and it isn't to punish you. The other thing about the Three of Swords is in this story it talked about there being this woman was the swan wife. Like it's almost like she's cutting her own wings. You're not letting yourself fly, right? And you're not being truthful about what you're doing to yourself. I think your experiences help people face their pain. It helps them understand where they're not going with the flow. The other thing that I get is that I think a lot of people are very fearful, right? Because you've experienced some scary situations in your life and you've learned from them. And I think you help in the future. You lead by example. You show other people, look, I've been through this too. You're not alone. And you remind people that they have value. And I think I really get the sense that you remind people who are tearing themselves down that they have value. Because again, I feel like, you've been torn down in your past, but that's just the universe moving you towards someplace better. It's not failure, right? And everybody fails at some point in their life. It's not, it doesn't mean that you're there's nothing wasted, right? Every single experience in life serves a purpose. So, don't feel like it's going to be like that forever, and don't regret anything that you've felt. But the other thing is do what you need to do next. If you need to walk away, walk away. But I do get the strong sense that the universe, I really get a more spiritual kind of sense with this, where the universe is trying to get you to where you need to go. And I think you have a much bigger role than you realize. But I also sense that, if something is meant to be in your life, then it will be in your life. And you don't need to worry about walking away for those cups, because you have a much greater purpose than just this right now. And believe me, anything that is meant to be yours will never be lost. So, wow, guys, oh my gosh, these How to Tarots always get so powerful, but I really enjoyed that. And it's for being it has so much symbolism in it when you look at it, this card. All right, guys. Well, I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you found it insightful, and that it gave you, it gave you messages and some understanding and some comfort. Really, I do thank you so much for joining me. if you are so inclined, if you enjoy the content of my channel, I would be very grateful if you'd like, comment, and subscribe. And as I mentioned in the intro, I'm taking my dad's record player in to be repaired. I'm giving it over to, I'm handing it over to the repairmen, so they're gonna hold on to it for about a month, about 4 weeks, and then they're gonna let me know if they can fix it. So please send me good vibes. We have such good energy in our community, so please send me good thoughts. And I hope that you have a great week. I am going to try to post the review of my deck, my love collection. I'm going to do my best to get that out. It's going to be a bit of a crazy week, so I'll try. But if you can, join me for that. And the weekly energy card reading will be up as normal on Saturday. But again, I hope you have a good week, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.